Have you ever dealt with a low back or a neck issue? Pain, discomfort, tightness. If you have, let me see some hands. A lot of hands, right? 9 out of 10 of us as adults will deal with a low back or neck issue. Spine pain is a $600 billion industry. $600 billion. The number one cause of disability from work is, you guessed it, right? Low back issues. But the one that really just, oh man, it hurts me, is if you deal with a low back or a neck issue, within 18 months, you have a 90% chance of recurrence that it'll come back. 90%. I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy. For me, it's embarrassing. I'm a chiropractor. My name is David Jolson, and I try to help guide people to sustainable solutions with this kind of thing. And I do think a good chiropractor, physical therapist, acupuncturist, massage therapist, I think across the board we're pretty proficient at helping people turn down that dial on the pain. But clearly, where we are failing drastically is in helping you understand spine pain, teaching you how to prevent spine pain. So today, I'm going to provide you a simple but effective tool that you will be able to use to help to better understand your spine pain. The only way that we will be able to chip away at a $600 billion industry is if you become the first line of defense. Pain. No one likes to be in pain. I don't like to be in pain. My kids definitely don't like to be in pain. I'm sure you all don't like to be in pain as well. But pain really, I think, gets a bad reputation. Pain is a perception of threat by our brain. If our brain perceives threat, it's going to lock down our muscles, our joints, our tissues. Pain isn't given to us to punish us. It's there to protect us, to help. So there's a very rare but tragic condition called congenital insensitivity to pain, which is when a baby is born with the inability to feel pain. And unfortunately, their lifespan is really short, and that the pain is such an important part of a healthy human experience. We just need to better understand it. So from a musculoskeletal standpoint, which means muscle, joint, and tissue, the number one reason why your brain will try to protect you, right, help you out, is if you don't have your normal range of motion. There's a massive connection with pain and range of motion. So let's say you wake up, it's the third day you woke up and your back's just tight. You know, it happens a couple times a year, right? Your back is just lit up. So maybe you see your local chiro or PT or massage therapist, acupuncturist. Maybe you go on TikTok or YouTube or Instagram, look up a stretch. There's a common theme with all of these approaches, and all of them are okay at different points in this journey. But if we go and get that massage, it's going to loosen up some muscles, some tissue, right? And what happens? Your range of motion improves temporarily, right? You go and see the chiropractor. They work on your joints. They open them up. What happens? The range of motion improves temporarily. So we are a lot of hands-on care. It's a beautiful thing, but they lead to temporary help. We need sustainability. We need you to be dependent on yourself. That's the only way we chip into this industry, this $600 billion industry. We need there to be something other than pain that you can use as your guide. Pain just isn't the best guide. So I want to introduce, I call it the audit and attack system. So I want everyone to sit up nice and tall. I'm surprised you guys didn't do that when I walked in the room. I'm a chiropractor. So sit up nice and tall, and I want you to go chin to your chest, and then tilt the head backwards. And ask yourself 2 questions when you do this. A, is this my normal range of motion? And B, is this uncomfortable? Turn the head to the left, and then turn the head to the right. Ask yourself those same questions. Ear to the shoulder, ear to the other shoulder. Then I want you to jet the head forward and then one everyone loves to do in public, kind of double chin straight back. Okay? And so ask yourself, are those my normal? You might not know because you're not in the habit of checking these. Also ask yourself, is this uncomfortable? The next step, we attack this. If you notice that you have a range of motion restriction, really simple, you open it up. So if I'm limited in right rotation, I'm just gonna open it up. If I'm limited in retraction, which is the one that you guys wanna see again, then I open it up. So really simple, right? You audit it and then you attack it. There are common compensations that you will find, and everyone is different. And you'll probably start to find your own patterns as you begin to check this. But because our world is so rounded, technology, trips, kids, lots of things put us in hunched over positions, a lot of our range of motion obstructions typically are in the opposite direction of what we live. So they tend to be, third time, retraction, extension, thoracic extension, lumbar spine extension, going the other way. Not everyone, everyone's different, but those tend to be compensation patterns. Let's take the low back again for example. The low back is tight. And so a lot of us inherently will try to treat the victim or the tissue in this instance. We'll try to stretch forward because we feel like it elongates the muscles in our back, which it does. So you're gonna bend forward and bend forward and bend forward, and you keep on doing that, and you get this little bit of relief, but it just seems to just keep on holding on, or it just keeps on coming back. But if you were to audit and check your range of motion, your extension going backwards is limited. There's nothing there, okay? So you're stretching and moving the wrong direction if you want sustainability. So be mindful, when you're working on something, are you treating the victim, or are you treating the culprit? So how do we apply this audit and attack? I want you to think about your day tomorrow, okay? For me, wake up, my kids wake me up, and I will get moving and try to think of something that you enjoy in your morning. Not right when you wake up, but something that you enjoy. And I want you to habit stack this, so creating a new habit with something that you enjoy. So for me, it's a cup of coffee. I'll have a cup of coffee, and as I'm doing that, I check some of the areas where I've had challenges: my neck, my low back, my hip, and my knee. These principles apply for every joint in the body. Real simple. If I'm limited, open it up. Okay? If I have full and free range of motion, great. Time to get stronger in this range of motion. The other beautiful thing that you can do in applying this, which this I think can be really impactful, because we all probably have certain activities that we associate, man, that can really aggravate my low back or my neck. And certain ones might be like a long drive or a long trip. And so we always blame the trip, or we blame the car ride or the plane seats. That chiropractors, we make those for business, but the plane seats. But really, more than likely, you're going into that flight or that trip with a limited range of motion already. So because you're limited there, you sit in those crappy seats, and then guess what? You get off the plane and vacation's ruined. Same principle when you sit down at your desk. Same principle when you go into the gym and some exercise can aggravate your back. Check your range of motion before you do that movement. Make sure you're clear. It's just information that we can learn a lot from. So that's how we apply the audit and attack. Now, I think there's a few concepts that can be pretty relevant when incorporating this in your life. And the first one is that pain isn't just muscle, joint, and tissue. Pain can be stress, anxiety, fear, previous diagnosis, family, job, beliefs. It can be a lot of things. I always think of it like a bus, a pain bus. And muscle, joint, and tissue are always on that bus. All those other things are usually, to some degree, on that bus as well. But what we need to be mindful of is when something else other than muscle, joint, and tissue might have control of that bus, maybe a big life event. Something's going on, right? So stress, anxiety, other things can protect us with tightness in tissues. We just need to be mindful of it. One way that you can start to rule out some variables with this is if your range of motion is full and free, but you're still struggling, you're still dealing with a lot of discomfort, then just think, what else is going on in my life? All pain is good, right? All pain is helpful. It's useful. We just need to better understand it. Another principle that I think is important is your flexibility. So I want you to think about your flexibility. Let's think scale of 0 to 10, 10 ridiculously flexible, 0 not flexible at all. And think about, not today, think about when you're like 12 or 13 or something like that. What number are you on that scale? So let's say I'm a 3 out of 10. There's two things ultimately that I need to do. I need to keep my full range of motion, and I need to be strong within my full range of motion. Let's say you're at 9. You have to keep that full range of motion and be strong within that full range of motion. So which one inherently is more challenging? It's the person who's gifted with a ton of flexibility because they have a lot more they need to keep and a lot more that they need to be strong in. So flexibility, without a question, is a gift and a curse. Clinically, we see this a lot. We'll see someone usually between the ages of 25 to 60-ish, usually a woman, not always, high on a flexibility scale. A lot of chronic pain, a lot of massive issues in that population, simply because it's challenging, right? We have, 20s, 30s, you have a life, right? Your job and work and family, and so it's just hard to keep that full range of motion and be strong within that motion. But if you are one of those people in this room, for better or worse, you have to stay active. If you don't stay active, your alarm system, your brain, your neurology is gonna get protective, and you'll deal with pain. So that is a really, really important thing to think about. So, and then the last concept is how we structure stability and range of motion. So if my elbow is limited in its range of motion, does it make much sense for me to strengthen this elbow right now? Just wouldn't be a really useful, functional elbow. But if I can open it up, it doesn't need to be perfect, but open it up and then stabilize it, that truly is where the magic happens. So think of it like this. We've got a line of pain, and if you're limited in your range of motion, you're usually below that line. You're in pain. Okay? So as your range of motion improves through good care or through improving your range of motion, you start to get out of it. When your range of motion is like, all right, it's pretty much your normal, good, okay? At that point, you need to continue fighting to build full strength within your entire range of motion. The more you do that, the further you get away from pain. And then you can go weeks without checking an audit or go on those flights, and you'll drop down here. But as soon as you start getting lower and your range of motion starts to get limited, that's when the pain comes in, the protection, right? So audit it. So to recap, we want to keep it as simple as possible. So audit your range of motion in any area you've had previous issues. If it's limited, open it up immediately. Don't let pain be your guide. Get out in front of it. If your range of motion is full and free, celebrate it, right? The brain and how we interpret pain is very important. So celebrate. Say, yeah, all right, yes, let's go. I got my full range of motion. Today's going to be a good day. Let's get stronger within my range of motion. So really simple how we can approach this. This is the way that we can chip away at a $600 billion industry, how we can decrease that 90% recurrence rate so you can be dependent on yourself instead of a provider like me. So ultimately, what I'm really asking for you to do today is to just put me out of a job. Thank you.